doing?
How are you? You gotta chill out. You're already on.
Y'all on?
Good evening, my brothers and sisters. It is 6 o'clock. We're coming to you from the Ebenezer Missionary Baptist Church. This is Wednesday. It's wonderful, and we worship right here at the Ebenezer Missionary Baptist Church. We got some cautious good news, I believe, on yesterday. And the cautious good news is the governor of the state reiterated that pastors and churches could consider reopening. He admitted once again that the state and government cannot mandate to pastors and churches whether they can open or not. He did commend us, though, for being nice and kind and cordial and following the state's recommendation. And so many churches and pastors are now planning some reopening processes, and I think we're in good shape right here at Ebenezer, and if I can help some other pastors and churches to come up with a strategy or plan to reopen, I'm certainly available to do that to you. Let me just say good evening to the Ebenezer Church membership and family, and then let me say good evening to those of you who listen to us by way of Zoom and Facebook. So good to have you on, so good to share with you another Bible study tonight. Tonight we're going to take a dive into something that I think could be helpful for you, for me, and for everybody who's dealing with this current situation that we're in, this current situation that we are in. And so listen, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Tonight, I'm going to be talking about some things I have learned. Some things I have learned. All of us have learned something, but boy, isn't it wonderful to know about some things that we all have learned. Listen, so the backdrop for our discussion tonight is Philippians chapter 4 and verse 11. Philippians chapter 4 and verse 11. Here's what you're going to find when you open your Bible. You're going to find this. Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. Being content is a learned state. It's a learned ministry. It's a learned reality. Paul writes this letter to the children and the Christians at Philippi, and he makes this statement. He said, listen, I have learned, I have learned, I have learned. When Paul says, I have learned, he automatically admits that at some point he didn't know. And so there are some things that life will teach you. You will learn some stuff. You've already learned how to stay at home more. Amen. You've learned how to be quiet. You've learned how to refocus some energy. You've learned how to wear masks, and you've learned how to do a lot of stuff. And so Paul says there are some things that I have learned since I've been in this ministry. And so tonight we just want to jet set through here and see what we can discover about some things that I've learned, some things that you learned, some things you might be learning, and some things that you will continue to learn as we go forth in our new reality. Now, whether you know it or not, this is a new reality. It's going to be with us for much longer than any of us wanted it to be. And so some of y'all probably been asking, you know that Carlos Wilson, he jumped the gun, he moved too fast, he needs to slow down, all this kind of stuff. But the reality is, this is our new reality. And what we're going to have to learn to do is we're going to have to learn how to cope with, deal with, adjust, and live life in this new reality. And so It's part of a leader's job to be able to look down the road weeks and months and sometimes years ahead and say, hey, this is just the way it's going to be. We wish this stuff would go away. We wish that it never showed up, but it's here and it's not going away anytime soon. And so we're going to have to learn how to deal with it, learn how to operate, learn how to maximize life. But tonight we're not talking about learning that. He's talking about something else that he learned. He says this. He said, not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, that would be content. The first thing Paul want to share with the people at Philippi is this. He says, I've learned not to want. I've learned not to want. And that word want suggests I've learned not to have an over craving desire. I've learned not to want. I've learned when I was a little boy, and I would say stuff. Y'all know, you know my story. I come from a poor family, and I would say, "Boy, I sure want some donuts." And the old folk would say, "Well, you're not too big for your wants to hurt you." They were trying to say to us, "Listen, it doesn't matter sometimes what you want. You need to get over it because you won't be able to have exactly everything you want at this time." So Paul said, I learned not to want. I've learned not to have an over craving for stuff that I just can't have right now. That's the first thing we see that Paul tried to say to the people at the book and at Philippi. I've learned not to want. I don't have an overbearing desire. And the reason why I don't have an overbearing desire is because David shared with us, I can be in this position because the Lord is my shepherd. In other words, the Lord knows exactly what I need. And because he knows exactly what I need, that's what David was saying. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I'm not going to get anxious and full of anxiety. I'm not going to let what's happening in my world around me mess with my mind, because the Lord is my shepherd. And whenever the Lord is your shepherd, you don't have to have no overbearing desire for anything, because the Bible says this. Watch this. I promise you, I read this Bible at least one time. The Bible says he knows what we have need of even before we ask. So if he knows what we need even before we ask, why are you worried so much about what you may not have, what you may not get, what you may not be able to do? If the Lord is your shepherd, he's going to supply you. He's going to get you those things that you need. As a matter of fact, he says specifically to some preachers and maybe even some other disciples, he said, listen now, when you go out to preach or when you go out to minister, he said, don't take no coat, don't take no staff, don't take no gun, don't take none of that. It's going to be supplied to you. You're going to get what you need every day. And so even in the Lord's Prayer, it said, give us this day our daily bread. Now here's what happened to me today. I got a little invitation, I believe it on yesterday, say they're going to be giving her free food. Free food. That's what they said, Glory Calway. Free food. And I said, man, free food. Good God Almighty. Maybe I should go down there and get some free food. And I did go that way. Not because I was looking for the free food. I was trying to go somewhere. And I ran up on, and all these cars was all the way around the block to get free food. And I said, okay, I wonder now, do some of these people need this food? Some of these people just have an overbearing desire to get anything that's free. Y'all ain't listening to me. And so whenever you have an overbearing desire just because something is free or just because you want to stock up, you're really saying to God, I don't trust you. I really don't trust that you're going to take care of me the way you said you're going to take care of me. And so I saw those lines and I had to slow down. Matter of fact, they stopped me. They said, you getting in this line? I said, no, sir, I don't think I am. He said, well, go on about your business then. Listen, but still, I just asked. And then the flip side or the back side of that is I got a phone call a little bit later on. They said, did you go get some food? And I say, no, I didn't. I'm probably good. But then they say, but did you get any for the church? Oh, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want, but I am a shepherd. So I might have should have got some of that stuff for some other folk who might really need some. And so I missed that golden opportunity. But I just believe God is going to give us another opportunity to do those things if we need to help somebody else. As a matter of fact, I said last week, and I'll say this week, we got tons and tons of rice right here, right now. So you don't have to starve. We got some stuff for you right here at the Ebenezer Church. Now, don't y'all tell everybody I got free rice, because I don't want that line down here that was up there today. So I'm just talking about what I'm talking about. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. And because the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I've learned how to be content. 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 Write that word down. Content. Content. It does not mean I'm not completely satisfied with where I am, but I'm not complaining with where I am. All right. Listen. To be content does not mean you have everything you want or dream of or desire, but it means whatever you are, you're not going to complain about it. A gentleman just left my office here. He's 77 years old. I said, how you doing, man? He said, well, I ain't complaining about nothing. I said, you the kind of fellow I like to talk to. There are some folk who every time you see them, they complaining about this, they complaining about that, they complaining about the water too hot, and then the water too cold, and then the water's too dry, and then the water's too wet. Listen, if you are content, it simply says, I don't have a whole lot of complaining to do. I wish every member I have would just write that down. I need to learn how to be content. Right. Listen, if some of y'all went to the store, you had to stand in a long line, you be complaining, oh Lord, I got to stand in a long line. Listen, you knew the line was there when you went. Amen. Stop complaining. It's just the way it's going to be for weeks and months and perhaps even years to come. So I've learned how to be content. Not satisfied, but I've learned how to stop complaining. Now, I know you can't hear me, but I want you to just say it to yourself. I'm going to stop complaining. Amen. Yeah, you need to stop complaining. You need to stop complaining. And so not only did I learn not to want, and I learned how to be content, I learned to be happy with a little. All right. I learned to be happy with a little. I said I learned to be happy with a little. My older brother, every time we talk, and when we get together as a family, he's always reminding us that we were poor but didn't know it. All right. We learned how to be happy with a little. Yeah. Now, my mother had a way of taking some flour and some lard and I think some buttermilk, and she had a way of turning that stuff over and over and over and making it into a dough, and then she had a way of putting her fist in it and putting it in the oven for about 20, 30 minutes, and then make you bite your fingers. Listen, you got to learn how to be happy with a little. Yeah. You may have to be happy with a little travel. You may have to be happy with a little sunshine. You may have to be happy with a little outing. You can't go everywhere you've been going. You can't do everything you've been doing. But it's a fine time, I guarantee you, if you look around your house and look around what God has made you a steward over, there's plenty of stuff you can be doing right now. Let me just give you one and I'll move on. Now, there's some of you ladies sitting around the house. You said, well, I need to go back to work because I'm bored and I'm tired. I said, now, make a quilt for the winter. Matter of fact, make me one too. Ain't nothing like a good homemade quilt. I mean, there's always something you could be working on rather than just bell aching and complaining. There's just some stuff I've learned. Just some stuff I learned. Paul said I had to learn this stuff, my brothers and sisters. And if Paul had to learn it, listen, I promise you, you and I will need to learn it as well. Not only did I learn how to be happy with a little, but I've learned how to embrace and appreciate much. Well. We used to sing a song back in the day. You got to be old school to get this song, but song simply says, I hope it won't be this way. I pray to my dying day. I hope it won't be this way always. Now listen, I come from a poor family. I embrace that. I don't run from it. I don't say I did not. Listen, I flat foot come from a poor family, but I didn't want to stay poor.
All right.
Oh, no, I didn't. I didn't want to stay in that position. No, I didn't. We learned how to be happy when we were poor. We learned how to ride, stick horses when we were poor. We learned how to play baseball with a sock when we were poor. We learned how to shoot basketball in an old bicycle rim when y'all look like y'all ain't been poor ever before in your life. We learned how to make do when we were poor. So Paul says, I learned how to be happy with a little, but I also learned how to embrace whenever there's an opportunity to appreciate much. So if and when you get a chance to have something else, you need to appreciate the privilege. Appreciate the privilege of having more or much. It's privilege. Yeah. I said it's a privilege. I said it's a privilege. Job had the privilege of having much. Matter of fact, they say he was one of the richest brothers there was. But here's what you got to deal with. If you want to learn how to be content, if you want to learn how to be happy, if you're going to learn how to not lose your mind, here it is. Always be prepared to lose it.
All right.
I said always.
Yes.
Always. It's not promised that you're going to have it forever. It's not promised that you're going to hold on to it forever. It's not promised that you're going to keep it until the cows come home. And so if you want to learn how to be content, if you want to learn how not to be tripping because they got your car, be tripping because you had to move out the big house back to the little house, or be tripping because you was working last week and you're not working this week, you have to always be prepared to lose it. Always be prepared. Now, some people will lose their mind. The story is told about a young boy who had one of them modern day games. I don't even know what the game was called, but he had a modern day game and he broke the screen. And his daddy said, listen, you won't be able to get another screen until you kind of earn it. So he went out and he worked and worked and worked. And he earned the way to get a new screen. He got a new screen. And some kind of way, he broke the new screen. Are y'all following this story? He broke the new screen, and his birthday was coming up. And so he was going to get another part of the game on his birthday, but he broke the new screen. He was so distraught. He was so despondent. He was so discouraged. This is a real story. Until he went into the closet and hanged himself. Wow. Listen. Somebody did not tell this young man anything that's material in your possession will tear up, will deteriorate, will go to waste. Amen. Ain't no sense in you killing yourself because you lose stuff. You have to always be prepared to lose. Always. Paul said I had to learn that. So Paul goes on to say in the 5th point, he said, I've learned how to be full and hungry at the same time. I had to play with that one, Jerry. What is he talking about, man? He said, man, I had to learn how to be full and to be hungry at the same time. Now, I'm just a pastor preacher. So in my pastor preacher tone, I'll tell you this. I've learned how to have a church full of folk and yet want to see another sinner saved. Full yet hungry at the same time. I wish somebody was tracking with me. See, whenever you're doing something for the Lord, you can never just be completely satisfied no matter what stage you're in. You're full, but you're still hungry. Well, let me just put it to those of you who eat. I know about y'all. Y'all know how to be full and hungry at the same time. Listen, I've been around some of y'all. I've seen y'all eat a whole chicken. I've seen you eat the chicken and then the lemonade and then eat some ice cream, and you look around 10 minutes later looking for something else. You full but hungry at the same time. It's almost an insatiable desire that you have. You're full yet hungry at the same time. Listen, I've taken some hits this week, but you know, hits don't bother me summer. I've taken some hits. You know, I put that stuff out there on Facebook about opening up the church, and people call me, you know, moving too fast and crazy, and I need to follow the rules and all that kind of stuff. Listen, I get all of that, but it's in my nature to be full and hungry at the same time. Now, I'm going to tell y'all what I've been saying all week. Now, you Christians, I hope Ebenezer didn't do this, but you Christians who've been out there talking about, well, you shouldn't open up the church, you ought to just lay low, the church ain't that essential. I said, and I hope Jerry helped me do this, I know Aaron will help me do it. Listen, if I catch church folk at the casino, I better not go to Biloxi and see damn Christian sitting up there in the casino. Talking about, well, we should stay out of the church because church ain't safe, but I'm still going to the casino because they still got the cheapest crab legs. The devil is a liar, you one too. Listen, I told y'all before, I'm a church man, I'm a Christian, I'm a pastor. And so it's just in my nature to be full and yet hungry at the same time. It's in my nature to appreciate 10 people out here on Sunday, and it's my nature to want to see 12. It's just who I am. Listen, it's just who I am. Listen, whether you come into the building or not, I just need to see you. The shepherd needs to see his sheep. He's full, yet he's hungry at the same time. Want to see how you do it. Want to see if the Lord has blessed you. Want to see what's going on in your life. Want to know if you're doing all right. Full, yet hungry at the same time. Don't stop criticizing pastors and preachers because they have this yearning for more. Yearning for more. He said, I learned how to be full and hungry at the same time. But watch this. He said, I learned how to be rich yet poor at the same time. I said, Paul tripping again. How in the world do you do that? Listen, here's the deal. People with a lot of money, they are rich materially, but in a lot of ways they are poor spiritually. And so they use this money trying to find satisfaction, trying to get an edge, trying to get over, trying to find peace, and they just can't find it. So he said, I learned how to be rich and poor at the same time. In other words, if your aim in life is just to have material stuff, you're going to be very disappointed in life. You're going to be very disappointed in life. Listen, I know a lot of people who got some stuff. But they say, man, I am missing. I would trade all of this in a heartbeat if I had an opportunity to have something else. And so that reminded me, I don't know why, but it reminded me of the haves but have not. It's good to have. It's good to have. But don't have so much that you forget where you came from and you start frowning down on people who may not have what you have. Don't you do that, because life can flip and turn on you in an instant. And so Paul says, I'm not going to let riches and privileges go to my head. So I got to learn how to be rich yet poor at the same time. Listen. Now I'll just leave that alone. I don't have to say everything that comes to my mind tonight. Somebody should have shouted hallelujah on that one, because y'all know the word on the street is, if I think it, I'll say it. That's what they say about me. But I fooled you tonight. I learned how to be rich and poor at the same time. But listen. Not only did I learn how to be rich and poor at the same time, here's where he's really trying to go with you on this. He said, I can handle anything. And I can handle all things through Christ because he give me strength. Yeah. Paul is trying to get you to a point of where he said, listen, if I'm sitting at the house by myself, I can handle it. All right. Yeah. If I get a chance to go back to Long John Silver's, right. No, they don't have that no more. If I get a chance to go to oh Lord have mercy. Okay, if I get a chance to go get me some filet mignon, I can handle that. Mm-hmm. But if I have to, listen, I shouldn't tell y'all this is ain't none of y'all business, but my little granddaughter was with me last week, and she wanted a sandwich, and I had two kinds of meat. One meat was blackened ham, and she liked that. But I had another kind of meat, and obviously this child had never heard of this meat. It was called piccolo. Mm-hmm. Piccolo. And she saw pickles, and she saw olives, and she saw the red stuff in the piccolo. And she said, I don't like that meat. Mm-hmm. I said, have you ever had it? She said, no. Just the look of the meat was not attractive to her. Y'all ain't talking to me up here. Yes, but is there anybody here that had you a good piccolo sandwich? Well. Oh, Lord have mercy. And not just piccolo. Paul said, listen, if push come to shove, sardines might taste all right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Reverend. Amen. If push come to shove, those of you who've been turning your nose up at some chitlins, if push come to shove, pot liquor and hot water cornbread, he said, I can handle anything and everything because Christ gives me strength. Oh, Lord, I wish somebody was talking to me. Listen, I'm telling you one more story, and I'm going to leave you alone. But, when I got married, I didn't have no air conditioning in my house whatsoever. No air conditioning whatsoever. None whatsoever. I didn't have nada. But wasn't nobody complaining. Well. Now, we done put people in air conditioning. And if it get two degrees too hot, they tell me I can't handle it. What do you mean you can't handle it? All right. You can handle anything and everything because Christ gives you. Am I talking to anybody up in here? Is there anybody other than me that learned how to handle some stuff? Right. You didn't see it coming. You didn't want it to come. You didn't expect it to come. But you're going to handle it. Don't you give up on life because it's not the way you want it to be. You got to learn how to handle things through Christ. And so my brothers and sisters, Paul said, there are some things that I have learned. I've just learned how to deal with some stuff. And then he goes on and talks to the church, and he says this to the church. He said, listen, he said, you all have done well in your communication and your contribution. That's verse 14. He said, you've done well in your communication and your contribution. So can I just pause and take a moment and thank those of you, both who are members of this church and members of other churches. You're still communicating with your church. You're still making contribution to your church. Thank God for you. You've done well both in your contribution and in your communication. That's important during these difficult times. Number one, to be able to communicate is important. But number two, to be able to make a contribution to life, to society, to your neighbors, to your friends, that's also important. He said, you've done well. He said, now, as you know, you've done well in that you communicated in my affliction. You tried to see how I was doing, even when I wasn't doing so well. Can I just give y'all a secret? This is a secret. Don't y'all tell nobody else. Don't y'all tell nobody else. Don't y'all tell nobody I told y'all this. But I need to tell y'all something. While some of y'all are sitting around waiting on the phone call from the pastor.
Yeah.
The pastor sometime need a phone call from you.
Amen, brother.
How you doing, Pastor?
Amen.
I know you had 200 people riding your back today. I just called to let you know I'm praying for you. I just called to see how you doing. I just wanted to check in, let you know that I'm praying. Y'all ain't talking to me over here. Listen. That stuff is a two-way street. Communication is a two-way street. Now listen, you don't want 100 people putting all the burden on your leader, and then the leader don't get one encouraging phone call.
All right.
I mean, every phone call, you a rascal. Every phone call, you ain't no good. Every phone call, you didn't come see me. Every phone call, I need this, I need that. You need to do this. Every now and then, you just need to say, hey man, how Flo treating you today?
Yeah. Amen, brother.
Praise the Lord.
Amen.
Y'all ain't gonna talk to me, that's all right. I got you muted. I don't want you to talk to me. Just wave your hand if you're sure. He said, you have done well in your communication and in your contribution. But then the ninth thing we find, he says this. I promise you he said it. He said this. He said the very ninth thing is this. Here it is. He says, every now and then, financial support will be scarce.
Yeah.
It's right there in the text, verse 15 and 16. I didn't write it down. I didn't make this up. I'm just talking to y'all about it. He says financial support will be scarce. In other words, he says, even when I went down to Thessalonica, and I was ministered down in Thessalonica, no one sent to me but you. Didn't nobody contribute to me but you. You were the only one who communicated with me and by way of giving and receiving, which is a way of saying everybody was not contributing.
Yeah.
Now stick with me. Please don't go. Don't go to sleep. Don't turn me off. Don't lose me right now, because I promise I will try to bless you if you just stay with me for a little while. He said, not everybody is contributing.
Yeah.
Now let me tell you that there's a law in nature.
Yeah.
And here's the law. It sounds like this. If you can relate to it, just wave your hand. The law sounds like this. Well, if they ain't doing it,
Well.
why am I doing it?
Well.
I know you've been there, because I've been there myself.
Amen.
Well, if they ain't doing it, why am I doing it? If they ain't giving, why am I giving?
Yeah.
If they ain't going, why am I going?
Yeah.
If they're not doing, why am I doing? Stick with me. I'm going to bless your pea-picking soul before we get off this lesson tonight. Because Paul said that's just some stuff I've learned.
Yeah.
And if you learn this tonight, if you get this down pat, I promise you, you're going to be blessed beyond measure in the morning. He said, listen, he said, sometimes financial support will be scarce. Now listen, here's the deal. Here's the deal. If your wife or your woman only wants you when you got something,
Wow. My.
oh, I said it. I'll say it again. Ain't nobody up in here but me and Jarvis, and he'll get y'all if you come at me tonight. I said, if you in a situation, if your friends only want you when you got something, they're not your real friend.
All right. All right.
Oh, Lord, I'm trying to help somebody. He said there's going to be some time, Pastor Ford, when your money will be funny. And you need to be connected with somebody when the scarcities are reality.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Amen, brother.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He said there's just going to be some time when financial support will be scarce. But he said, listen, I need to help y'all. He said, I need to help y'all. He said, listen, here's what you got to understand. You got to come to grips with this. He says again, down in verse like 15 to 16, he says, not that I speak in respect of want.
Yeah.
Not that I'm po-mouthing. Not that I really need anything extra. Not that I'm begging you for anything. He said this. He said the aim is fruit and favor in your account.
Yes, sir, Reverend.
Oh, you ain't listening to me. You're not listening to me.
Yes, sir.
Listen, the devil done tricked some of y'all
Uh-huh.
to believe
Yeah.
that all somebody want is what you have.
Yeah,
Listen,
yeah.
Paul said, listen, this really ain't about giving to me.
Yeah.
This ain't about doing for me.
Yeah.
This ain't about nothing. This is about
Amen,
you
brother.
need something in your account
Yes, sir.
where you have done something for God and the kingdom. Y'all ain't
Amen,
talking to
brother.
me.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can put it to you another way. Now listen, I think, now I'm not real sure, but I think there may be a savings account somewhere.
Well,
And then I think there may be a checking account somewhere.
yeah,
And then I think there may be a Medicare account somewhere.
yeah,
And then I think there's a special account somewhere.
yeah.
Now, just the other day, this ain't none of y'all business, but just the other day, I got a bank statement, and they had charged me $7.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going, ooh, good smoogly moogly. Why are you charging me to send me this piece of paper? So I asked somebody, who works at the bank. I said, why did they charge me $7 for this month? And I was told they charge you because you will let your account get too low.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Y'all tripping on me tonight.
Uh-huh.
You don't want your spiritual account with God
Well,
to get so low
yeah.
until rather than blessing you,
Oh,
he has
okay.
to penalize you.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that.
Amen.
Listen, you don't want to get that low in your account.
Yeah.
Nor do you want to get so low in your account until when you get to a cash register, rather than paying attention to what the person is saying to you, you're praying, Lord, please let this thing come back approved.
Yeah.
You're operating too low when you get there. You're operating too low when you get there. You're operating too low. So the aim is to have fruit and favor in your account, not with your pastor,
Yeah. Yeah.
with your God.
Amen, Reverend.
Am I talking to anybody? Because see, if COVID hit me tonight,
Yeah.
I ain't calling Ford.
Yeah.
I ain't calling Jerry Johnson. I ain't calling Percy Watson.
Yeah.
I'm talking to the Lord.
Yeah.
I'm saying, hey, Lord, look over there in my account.
Yeah.
I've been trying to do some stuff for you, and tonight I need a favor. You ain't
Yeah.
talking to me up in here.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
when some of y'all get down and out, you can't talk to the Lord for yourself. That's why you call me.
Uh-huh.
And you want to get something from the Lord on credit.
Yeah.
And the Lord said, listen, I need you to have something in your account
Yeah.
so you don't have to go through no preacher to talk to me.
Yeah.
You can talk to me for yourself.
Amen, Reverend.
Oh, Lord, have
Yes,
mercy.
sir.
When you got something in the account,
Yeah.
baby, you can go and ask for some stuff at that point. Listen. Let me tell you how I know Paul wasn't asking for anything for himself. Let me just tell you.
Yeah.
Because I know I just lost y'all. And if y'all give me a minute, because this thing that I'm working with is working with me. So if you give me just a minute, I found it, but I lost it. Here you go. He said, the 11th thing, he said this, right there in verse 18. He said, you bless me and the church tremendously.
Yeah.
And then he goes on to say, I had to break this down in the Google terminology. He said, you've given me a sweet smelling odor.
Yeah.
Which is, in other words, he said, listen, he said, y'all, he said, the church I pastor, let me wear deodorant and some cologne.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, listen, I told y'all, I can eat some sardines if I had to. I can eat some piccolo.
Yeah.
But what you don't want is a pastor with no deodorant.
Amen, Reverend.
Amen.
Oh, Lord.
Amen, Reverend.
Amen.
Oh, Lord, have mercy. He said, listen, you let me have some deodorant and you let me have some cologne.
Yeah.
He said, but not only that, you gave a sacrifice
Yeah.
or an offering
Yeah.
pleasing to who?
No.
Read your Bible now. Pleasing to who?
No.
See, you don't want to give trying to impress men.
Amen.
Amen.
You want to be a giver to impress God.
Yeah.
And so he said, you giving an offering pleasing to God.
Amen.
Whatever I do, I want God to be pleased.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really don't care if other folk pat me on my back or say you've done good, but I certainly need, when I lay down at night, when I'm listening to God, I need to hear God say, listen, boy, you did pretty good today.
Yeah. Yeah.
You tried to help somebody. You went out your way. You did this. You did that. I need God to be pleased with me. So Paul is saying, listen, I need y'all to understand that your relationship with God is important. And integrity is not what you do when people are watching you.
Yeah.
Integrity is what you do when nobody is watching you.
Yeah.
And so there are several Sundays when I leave church, I'm back at the house, I'm tired, it's 3 o'clock, and I realize, man, I did not leave an offering. I did not pay my tithes. I did not, oh Lord have mercy. And you know, the devil might say, well, you're at home now. Church over. Well, that may be true, but when I wake up on Monday morning, I want to have something in my account. To God. I want God to understand that because he was good to me all week long, I'm going to honor him for blessing me.
Amen.
Am I helping anybody with this at all?
Amen, Reverend.
Because I still got a shouting point for you, a couple of them if you'll take them. I got a shouting point for you. He said, listen, you bless me and the church tremendously. But listen at this. He says, because you have given to me and the church. Oh, now y'all read the scripture without reading what's in front of it and what's below it. But here's what it says. Because you've given to me and the church, he says, now, I told you I was going to try to bless somebody. Now, my God shall supply all your needs according to his riches in glory.
Yes, sir.
Here's the deal. When this pandemic first started, and y'all were going down there buying up all the toilet tissue. And I wasn't leaving no toilet tissue for nobody else. Going like, man, what's the importance of toilet tissue? Why is that such a premium? I didn't get it and probably still don't get it. And then the other week they came out and told y'all the chicken was finna get going. Boy, every Baptist I know was down there stocking up on some chicken. But when you got something in your account with the Lord, you got to understand it's his job to supply all of your needs according to his riches and glory. What are you talking about, preacher? I'm talking about God told Moses, go get the children out of Israel and take them to the promised land. They got out there in the desert. They start crying to Moses. They said, Moses, where the meat? Moses said, God, these people want some meat. He said, I tell you what, Moses, just tell them to reach up in the air. I'm going to send bird after bird after bird. Every one of them can get. Y'all ain't talking to me at all. Listen, when I rode by that place today and I saw those people, I said, God bless them. I hope they need that. And then I thought about myself and I said, there's no real need for me getting in this line for myself because my God shall supply all of my needs according to his riches and glory. Now I'm going to say this, I hope I don't offend you, but you know, I've been told that I'm good at that. Listen, I can afford to skip a couple of meals.
Oh, glory.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Oh, yes, I can.
Yes, sir.
I said, I can afford to skip a couple of meals. But if you put yourself, if you can learn how to put God first, if you can learn how to be content and stop complaining, if you can learn how to be full and hungry, if you can learn how to be rich yet poor, if you can learn how to handle anything without complaining so much about everything, and if you can learn how to stay true to your calling and true to your ministry and true to who you are, and if you can learn how to communicate and contribute, here's what the Bible said. My God What you do activates and then reactivate God.
Yes.
Listen, that got to be somebody that I'm talking to tonight who said, listen, I learned how to trust God,
Yeah.
and I learned how to do whatever God asked me to do.
Yeah.
And even if I have a need, God meets my... Is anybody just
Yeah.
wave your hand at me if you can recognize what I'm talking about? God meets my needs because I do what he asked me to do. Now, sometimes God is just like this because he's trying to figure out who you are. He don't meet your need in the comfortable hour. I wish somebody was talking to me. He doesn't, the light bill is due.
Yeah.
You said, God, I need to pay right now. He said, no, give me a few days.
Yeah.
And then the light bill get past due.
Yeah.
You said, Lord, now listen, I've been to church, I done did this, I done prayed, I done even had some Hail Marys, I done did a whole lot of stuff. And he said, well, hold on just a minute. Wait on me just a little while longer.
Yeah.
And then they said, listen, they about to cut these lights out.
Oh, glory.
Yeah.
And you don't sleep well that night.
Well.
But somewhere between midnight
Yeah.
and about 6 in the morning,
Yeah.
some kind of way God steps in and
Yes, sir.
does stuff on your behalf.
Yes, sir.
And let you roll on a little while longer. You need to keep yourself in a position where God then supplies your needs according to his riches in glory.
Yes, sir.
Now let me just say this. I got a couple of friends who got a few dollars.
Yeah.
Who got a few dollars. Now, I tell you what, they don't want me to just come around when I need a few dollars.
Well.
If I want a few dollars, I need to have a relationship with them
Yeah.
ongoing.
Yes, sir.
So now when I come around and I need a few dollars,
Yeah.
they said, boy, we've been friends ever since Moby Dick was a minnow.
Yeah.
What's $20 between me and you?
Amen.
Y'all ain't catching this.
Yeah.
Listen, is there anybody here other than me? You got some folk, you know when you see them, they
Yeah.
finna ask you for something.
Yeah.
Woo, you say, okay, here they come. They finna drop the bomb on me.
Yeah.
And they'll start off with, I ain't seen you in a long time. You go like, okay, go on get to where you going with this now, cause you just need to know, I just need to know what it is that you really want from me. Yeah. Well, listen, here it is, bottom line. To God be the glory forever.
Amen.
In other words, if you want a return on your investment to God, give him the glory before trouble comes.
Yeah.
So that when trouble comes, you have no real problem accessing his riches in glory.
Amen.
Am I talking to anybody? Listen, I ain't really trying to get back to church because I'm really trying to get back to church.
Well.
I'm trying to get back to church because I believe God will be pleased with our effort. Now let me just say this to you before I let you all go. Listen, church, and I've heard y'all. Listen, I heard y'all. I want you to tell everybody. The pastor heard us. He heard everything we said.
Yeah.
Church ain't coming over here coming into a building.
Well.
Church is the gathering of some people when maybe sometime all you can do is wave at each other.
Yes, sir.
But just to see your face is a blessing.
Yes, sir.
Just to see your car is a blessing. Just to see whether you're okay or not is a blessing.
Yes, sir.
And so there are so many ways that we can come together and have church and greet each other and wave at each other and encourage each other until, listen, we're not trying to put anybody into danger. We're not trying to spread no COVID.
Yeah.
We're not trying to. I want you to do for your church the same thing the athletic fans are going to do for their team.
Amen.
So you don't go to the game, but you have your pom-poms at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't go to the game, but you got your paraphernalia.
Yeah.
You got your cups.
Yes,
You
sir.
got your hat. You got your straw.
Yeah.
Your bedspread made of some athletic team. Your pillow got somebody's helmet on it. Your socks got
Yes, sir.
something on there. Y'all ain't talking to me
Yes,
up in
sir.
here. Listen, so you ought to be the same way about your God
Yeah.
as
yeah.
you are about anything else, because God got us through this far.
Yeah.
Am I talking to anybody? Anybody know God got you saved thus far?
Yes, sir. Reverend.
Anybody know God is going to keep you safe
Amen.
here on out? And even if you don't stay safe,
Yeah.
you can thank God you always stay saved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, saved folk die.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a good friend right now. They tell me just about 3 more weeks. The doctor done gave them about 3 more weeks. Ain't got nothing to do with COVID.
Yeah.
Young, vibrant person, not even 50.
Yeah.
And but listen, when you love the Lord, you can't stop something from coming your way,
Yeah.
but you can certainly be prepared for what comes your way.
Amen. Reverend.
Listen, y'all, I've had so much fun sharing with you tonight. I hope you've had some insight. I hope you gained something that can help you with the rest of this week. Some of y'all are just afraid to, I hear you talking and you're scared to go and you're scared to do and you're scared to cough and you're scared to sneeze and
Yeah.
you're scared to touch and you're scared to hug. And
Amen.
you're
Reverend.
scared, you're scared, you're scared. I understand it. I do. I really do understand it. And I'm not trying to minimize it at all. But I'm trying to say that God has not given us the spirit of fear, but
Amen.
of a sound mind and peace and love and good judgment. And I want you, my brothers and sisters, to start practicing who we are as Christians
Amen.
in the Lord. Listen, until the same time, same place next Wednesday, we're signing off now saying you need to go and learn some of these things. Listen, it's the middle of May, and I need to tell y'all something before I go. I think it's very important. If I don't see you anymore, I love y'all.
Yes, sir.
Love is not what love said. Love is what love does. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoso believe in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. The whole law is fulfilled even in this: thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Get off of here tonight and go love somebody just like God loves you. God bless you and God keep you. That's my prayer.
Amen.
Let me know when I'm free.